Morning, guys. It's Stephen here. This is just a little intro for a clip that I'm about to play, taken from last night's fan view. It was right at the end of the fan view live, and I was chatting to Joe Butterfield. And Joe's an absolute legend, always insightful, always intriguing, and always passionate, man. And we were chatting about the state of referees in this country last night, and VAR and accountability and the PGMOL and how they're absolutely useless and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was a really interesting discussion about what can we do about referees in this country, and do we have to accept it and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I've taken it apart from the others because I think it deserved its own little slot. So go and enjoy it. And of course, at the end, after the referee chat, there's a bit of chat about last night's game as well. Enjoy the clip. Big love to Joe for coming on. How you doing, Joe, man? You good?
I'm getting better as the minutes are going by.
Yeah, same, man. Like, has there ever been a better way to prepare us for? I don't even know how to pronounce his surname. What's he called? Like Antonio Lahoz. Has there ever been a better game to prepare us for a Lahoz special than this one?
I think I said to you before on Twitter, actually, when you were tweeting about this already. I think this is worse than anything Lahoz can possibly give us. I think like I'm actually
that tweet, but
I'm actually
yeah, you're right.
I'm actually sort of more convinced by what UEFA are going to do in terms of their officiating, like using VAR and all that sort of stuff. I think I'm more confident in that at the moment than I am with the Premier League officials, because I feel like at the moment Premier League's, certainly in Stockley Park, they just don't want to overrule anything that the referees on the pitch are doing, and no matter how bad the decision actually ends up looking on a replay, they're just almost intimidated by the idea of overturning what that referee on the pitch has said and how it looks to have that referee have his bad decision pointed out to him on the pitch there and then, rather than the fact that it's obviously not the correct decision, which is just baffling. I don't understand. At the beginning of the season, it was all down to this this idea of a clear and obvious error, and that seems to just gone completely out the window.
Was that last season? I don't remember anymore.
Last season even, yeah. God, it feels like it's
no idea.
It's just mad. But yeah, it's either way. It's that's long gone. I've seen so many clear and obvious things not be overturned by VAR in the last year or two that I'm sick of it. I'm done with it.
How do you even fix this? Because the worrying thing for me is that Pigmol, whatever it is, PGMOL, the referees, I was going to call them pigs, because it's fitting. Pigs basically, they don't seem to want to fix it, because the amount of times you see statements or something like that, or ex-referees in the media just backing up what we can only deem nonsense, that we even like often. I mean, the pundits weren't with us City today for whatever reason, but even sometimes you see pundits going, "This is clearly just not the right call." Yeah. And it feels like it just doesn't change. Like, what will it change? Is there a desire for it to change from the referees' board, from the pigs? Did he want it to change? Like, does it have to be? Does it have to be some kind of reform? I don't. Or is it just that maybe the rules will change next season? What happens, man? How do we?
I've no idea why we haven't just adopted what they're doing in the rest of Europe, which is being quite proactive in sending referees to look at the camera. I think the screens even. I think we've done that. It's on a handful of occasions this season. Referees have done that, and it's been almost a novelty every time it's happened, because it's been a bit like, oh, they're actually sending him to go and do it. And you see, especially in we're seeing it the most in the Champions League more than anything else, because that's where we've played a lot of our football. That is where referees are being sent. Like the handball against PSG, for example. Like that was just literally a case of, you might have a look at this one. Went over to the screen, had a look, saw the replays. Clearly not a handball, job done. And I think that these referees should be because if a referee makes a bad decision and he goes and looks at it and realizes, oh, I've made the wrong decision, he is, it's visually to the crowd and to the fans, he is the one who is looking at that decision and changing his mind. And I think that at the moment, Stockley Park are just looking at it and they don't want it to look like the game is being refereed by people who aren't on the pitch. And they're just not overturning anything as a result of that. But I think that they should just send these referees to the pitch side monitors. Let them change their minds if they see anything that's worth changing.
What's the point in them in Stockley Park then? It's almost like they're too afraid to make call. They don't want to use it. It's like, and also, how are these like? I agree with that. They should go over, but why are they there? They're that incompetent. Like if they can't if they can't make these calls, I'm not. genuinely feel like I could sit there and do a better job, which is crazy. I feel like I could genuinely do a better job, and you could. And it's almost like I tweeted before. It feels like football for fans watch a different game to referees often. Like, or we either they know something that we don't, or they have a different interpretation of rules that we don't. Because it's the only way I can try to explain the discrepancy in our view of the game compared to theirs, because it's mind-boggling at times, like how certain things can happen. And we're like, I feel like this should be explained to us, because it's just confusing. And literally, this is all built around the fans, man. Like we are the customers here. Like
they need to be justified on the night. Like a referee needs to come out afterwards and say, right, this is a decision. This is why we did this. This is why this happened. And I'm not just talking about, this game's ultimately meaningless. I'm not asked if they got this. They were shit today, but ultimately this isn't going to have any bearing on our season. But what if next season it does? Like, what if another performance happens like this, where it does affect our season, or it affects someone else's, relegation campaign or something like that? And referees are just like, we get the odd, we get a press release that comes out a few hours after the game where like the referees report comes out and says, oh, I saw that, regardless of whether Cancelo fouled Welbeck or vice versa, a clear goal scoring opportunity was denied. And so under rule X, this was given, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want that. I want the referee to literally be dragged off to the sidelines like a manager or a player from one of the teams and just say, look, this decision, why'd you make it? What did you see? And then what did they tell you at Stockley Park? Or just have us hear what Stockley Park are telling the referees there and then, because we can see
it's
what
they're reasonable
seeing.
Either.
Yeah, we can see what they're seeing, but we can't hear what they're telling the referees. Like, we don't know what we unless it's an offside and you can see the lines being made in real time. We don't know what the decision is going to be that the referee makes until either the commentator tells us or we see the referee like point to whichever side he's doing. And, you're right in terms of like the media side of things as well. Like, for some reason, even Julian Lescott today was under the impression that was a sending off. And I don't know how he's come to that conclusion. I thought he'd have his Blue City tinted goggles on and be all right with it and be, backing us a bit. But Peter Walton is the single most useless employee at any company that I've ever seen in my life. He is literally, his job is just to back up whatever VAR says, even if it goes completely against something that he'd said 30 seconds before. It's mental.
The thing is, to me, there's 2 points I want to say. For one, it's not unreasonable simply because these decisions quite literally cost people, clubs and whatever, tens of millions of pounds. It's an awful lot of money. And I'm sorry, like I'm almost certain if some random employee in a company was making decisions every now and then that costing business that much money to go, fucking explain yourself, and I feel like the teams have a right to know why a referee did this. And they have a right to make mistakes, referees, as well. No one is saying they don't have a right to make mistakes. But what I get frustrated in, and I honestly can't recall a single moment where the pig model, whatever they're called, have come out after a game with their report and gone, yes, we were wrong. It never happens. They are always right. And it's a bit Miguel Delaney, even being honest. It's a little bit like that. It's like, that they always seem to think they are right regardless. It's like the whole world, football fans and pundits and players can be like, that was nonsense. And referees like, well, actually, I think you're fine because the rule 12.1 section A of the fucking new handbook that we issued yesterday that no one knew about actually says that it's genuinely, it does feel like that all the time. And it's always like everyone's looking around going, what are you like? Yeah. Why? There has to be accountability simply because otherwise things won't get better. And that's the way I feel it has to happen. And if the referees get to a certain point where everything looks really good again and no one's questioning them and they can't be asked in the interviews to an extent, all right then. But right now they haven't earned that respect, and we have to respect referees. I do agree that they shouldn't be abused, like that stuff. But why should we respect people that incompetent in the job? It's frustrating. It's very frustrating because we're the ones paying the money to watch this. They get paid very handsomely. I feel like I could go on a week's course and be a better referee in 10 minutes and get paid the $100,000 a year that they get paid. I genuinely believe that.
It's honestly that bad. Yeah.
And it's mad, it's mad. And these are meant to be the elite professionals, and they perform that badly. And once again, if I was that bad at what I do right now, I would no one would be watching my YouTube videos. What should have been,
what should have been the ultimate red flag for PGMOL is that we the last World Cup, none of our referees got sent there. That is, we have the biggest league in the world, the most watched league in the world. It has the most eyes on it, and FIFA decided that our referees were too shit to go to a World Cup. That is, you know what I mean? If that's the situation, then why is there not from the FA or whoever it is that runs PGMO? Why is there not some kind of investigation or like a reform of some description into how our referees are taught to referee, because it's
They should be
obviously not good
embarrassed.
enough. Yeah.
They should be embarrassed, man. You're right. Like, they've got no chance. Excuse. I mean, like that. I don't know. I don't know how. I can't imagine what a referee's dressing room looks like. Oh, it must be very, very strange.
I just imagine it being just like Fernandinho in the Amazon documentary after the Wigan game, where he's just sat, was just slumped there, looking depressed. I imagine that's what it's like after every game for those referees.
But I just think like they must go, I can't wait to get to the World Cup. They must feel that way. And if they're not there, because it's their career, and they want to referee in a World Cup final. Who doesn't? If that's your job, you want to be at the pinnacle of your job. And even financially, there's loads of money for them. So are they not? Like, they all benefit from it, is what I'm getting at. They benefit from it. Yeah. They get potentially lucrative media careers. They get to play referee the Champions League. They get to referee in the World Cup. So I don't get why they want to be perceived as bad as well. And right now, you're right to say that they are perceived as bad. And that is entirely on them. They need to fucking get a grip. Yeah. Someone said as well, English referees gave 3 yellows in a World Cup game to the same player. We are bad. We are bad at this, and I remember that happening as well. Let's talk about football, Joe, because fuck referees, man.
That's some of that happened between the refereeing decisions.
And what happened? What was it? Where were you at with the football side of this game after the full-time whistle?
I mean, after that first couple of minutes where we scored, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be just a nice sort of warm up for." Everton. This Everton are going to be nice little warm-ups for like the Champions League final. We're seeing a relatively strong team, plus Torres getting a chance maybe to sort of stake a claim for that false 9 spot if there's injury problems anywhere else, if maybe De Bruyne is not 100%, but he'll be back anyway. It was all set to be just like a nice, relaxing watch. And then the referee decisions kind of took that away and made it pretty impossible for me to really take anything. I mean, not that I'd have taken a huge amount out of the result regardless, but it becomes even less. It becomes even more difficult to really take much from the team's performance after that. I think, I don't think anyone was really, apart from maybe Foden, was really outstanding. I think no one was really standout terrible apart from Garcia. But he was brought on a right back for some reason. Christ knows what the logic was with that one. I think
you call him, what do you call him on Twitter? A specky son?
I might have called him a specky twat. And yes, I know I wear glasses as well, guys. Don't worry, I'm aware of the irony of that.
Well, but, you're allowed to at least. You're allowed to. And I love how you saw my thing said everyone's being a bit kind. You're like, sorry, I was emotional. I saw that. And that wasn't the worst one I had in mind. Don't worry, that wasn't the worst one I had in mind. That's all worse than that.
Like, I really need to stop using Twitter when it's in the middle of I can use Twitter in the middle of a game, but I need to stop saying the shit that I would shout at the Etihad if I was there. And
that's the difference. You're right. No one cares at the Etihad, but on Twitter it lands differently, doesn't it? Because players are going to read it probably or something like that. And like that's the thing.
I'll delete that. I don't want poor Eric to see that tomorrow morning when he wakes up.
I know he's never going to see it. Don't worry. And I think he's honest. If I was Eric Garcia, I'm not looking on Twitter after that performance. I'm not looking on Twitter at all. The thing is, Eric Garcia, I don't know if he still follows me, but he used to follow me, and I know he used to use his Twitter. So I'm always a little bit like, I want to criticize him, and I will do and play badly, but I'm always like, I want to go fucking hell.
He's looking at his nice shiny new apartments in Barcelona now. I'm sure the scouts at Barcelona are watching these games at the end of the season, thinking, Jesus, we have dropped the ball. I think actually, I have a funny feeling he'll be involved against Everton because I'm pretty sure now he's one Premier League game away from it being officially on his CV as a Premier League champion. I think you need 5. I think you need 5 games, don't you? And I think that with this being his final chance to do it, Pep is going to 100% get that on Garcia's CV.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably why he came on as well.
Whether he starts or comes off the bench, he'll be involved in some way.
Who do you want to be involved in some way? So I asked Luke beforehand as well, but I do genuinely think this is a difficult team selection. It's difficult and it isn't difficult, but it's difficult because there's potential consequences of either route. There's many different ways, I guess, to approach this. But how do you approach it if you're Pep Guardiola? You're bold, you're beautiful, you're Pep. What are you doing, man? What are you doing on Saturday against Everton?
I would have been quite happy with the team like today's going out against Everton, to be honest. I think De Bruyne has to start because I think he has to get some legs in him, some minutes in his legs before the final. I wouldn't want him to play the full 90 minutes, but I'd give him at least sort of 50, 60 minutes. But otherwise, I would have wanted a team a bit like today's, to be honest with you. I mean, not the full team that's going to play in the Champions League final, but at least, 7 or 8 of them. And I think that because a lot of them have played today, I imagine quite a few will probably then step out. And I can't imagine, no matter how serious or not Gundogan's injury is, I don't think they'll risk him on Sunday now. So yeah, I imagine that we'll probably have we'll see Ederson. I think Stones and Diaz will probably start the game. I think you just want to give them two a bit of time together before especially seeing as how today's gone as well. You want to give them like a proper game before the final. Zinchenko should play. Walker should come back in. Fernandinho, get him on maybe instead of Rodri. But that front three, I think we should see the Foden, Mahrez, Torres front three again. I want to see Torres get a chance with the first team like he was going to get today before the Champions League final, because I legitimately think if Gundogan's injured, I say drop Torres in and put him as a striker with De Bruyne in midfield instead of Gundogan. But that might be a bit of a bold move, considering that he's only really had one hat trick in his last however many appearances that he's had for us.
That team selection is going to be influenced now based on the idea, what if someone's not out? So as a result, I also think we'll probably see, because there's one, we all know if Gundogan's not out, we all know it's going to be one of Jesus, Torres, or Sterling who starts. It's going to be one of those three, because it'll be a striker or someone who can play in the forward line. So as a result, I wouldn't be surprised if all three play against Everton, because I feel like someone's, if there's an audition there essentially, for one of those players. And Torres is currently possibly in the driving seat, but Sterling's Sterling, and Pep loves Sterling, and even though he's had a poor season, I think Pep would love a chance to play Sterling in a Champions League final if he had a good game against Everton. But it's going to be difficult. I think you'd probably be right, though. Broadly speaking, it'll be a pretty strong team. I think it probably has to be as well, doesn't it? Really, De Bruyne, I think, has to play. Just absolutely has to play, because we need to see where he's at, don't we? Really. Foden's goal, man. We haven't mentioned that. He's magic, isn't he, Foden? Like that goal was. Once again, it's another high quality goal that I feel like will just be ignored in the way that Ferran's first goal the other day was like, oh, that was nice. City fans went, that's fucking brilliant. Everyone else was like, everyone ignored it. But Foden's goal tonight will be, maybe not Foden because Foden's English, so maybe people pay attention to it. But he's becoming a proper winger, isn't he? He really is.
Yeah, I think he's got 25 goal involvements now all season, which is one less than De Bruyne, and like no one else is higher than. I put this on Twitter after the goal as well. It's because I'm seeing a lot of hype for Foden, even from outside of City circles. Like a lot of people are talking him up as to be like the next big thing, and yet I still feel like he's not fully rated as much as he should be. I think he's still somehow underrated, like from everyone else, despite everything that's going on. Because he's just a game changer, and he's 20 years old, and is he 21 now? He's
just about to be, if not already.
Yeah,
his birthday, that's why I know that.
He's on another level, and it's just I can't believe that we're at the point where, because it feels like only this time last year that we were saying, oh, let's give him some more game time next season and sort of see. We knew he was good, but let's sort of see how he does in a full season. Now we're at the point where, like, literally, apart from, De Bruyne and Diaz, he's probably the first name I want on the team sheet because he's that good. And he basically is good for a goal or an assist in pretty much every game that he plays, as you can see by the sort of the numbers that he's putting up. And it's just, he's a big game player as well. Like, if Champions League quarterfinals, he got a couple of goals in those games, including the winner against Dortmund in the first leg, the one that sort of pretty much sealed the deal in the second leg. Played well against Paris despite not necessarily getting any goals. Got the assist for Mahrez's goal. It's just mad. Like it seems like big occasions just don't faze him. And in the Champions League final, that's just exactly what you want.
The idea of Foden scoring a winner for Champions League is not even unlikely. It's not even unlikely. That's what's crazy about it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I've seen if that was the outcome, no one would be surprised. And that says it all, really, because Foden's got to the point now where he is that guy. And they called me a madman over on 880 Sport when I said he'd score 15 to 20 goals this season. He's got there. He's going to be a 20 goal a season player every year. If not, I maintain that. And he's barely played this season. And look at the quality. And I do feel like every single week we see another string to his bow that he's always had from the youth team level. But he obviously had to find it because physically you have to catch up and stuff like that. And now he's going to start scoring wonder goals as well.
I think you said this.
Go on.
I think you said this on a video not long ago that like basically he's at the point now where he's starting to do what he did to like under 16s teams, but to like actual grown professional footballers, and it's just
physicality.
It's crazy.
Physicality.
Yeah,
that's it. He's bigger now. Like one of my mates works at City, and he was saying like because he's filming all the time, and he said he noticed the other day because he's a City fan as well. He's like, God, I just noticed Phil's a lot bigger than he used to be. Like he's just broader. He's grown out, and his shoulders have got a little bit wider, and he's stocky now. I do remember initially when Foden got into the team as like a 17-year-old, he could lead on them and he'd go down just because he was just too weak. And now he's faster, he's bigger, he's stronger. It makes him nearly unstoppable, and I feel like there's an element of like, do you know when superheroes and they have their little kind of like origin story and they start to realize the powers that they've got and stuff, and then it takes them they go, oh, what's happened? Like I feel like Foden's had a couple of moments where he's banged one in against Liverpool, he's gone on an amazing run against PSG or whatever. And now he's like, fuck, I know I'm good, but now I can do it. And now me choosing that option to do it doesn't feel like a bad, doesn't feel like a silly thing to do. I wonder, if this is this end of this Champions League final is going to be Foden's big last scene battle. Wonder if that's going to be his moment. Where he really shows the world that he's ready to be. I don't know what I'm on about. I'll start with a Marvel nonsense now, but I feel like that's where he's getting to. He's getting to his big moment where the world is going to take him seriously. And I honestly think the sky is the limit for him. And I do. It's weird to say this, and we already know it. Like I do think 10 years from now, we'll be like, he's our greatest ever player. I think it's nailed on that Phil Foden is going to be our greatest ever player.
I think we'll look at him in the same way that like Liverpool fans look at Gerrard and Chelsea fans look at Lampard. We'll be looking at Foden and being like, yeah, this is like it helps so much that he's come from the academy as well. Like he's been here for he's technically been at the club for like 10 years already, really, from the youth levels upwards, and it's just. It's mad. It's mad. He's from Stockport.
By the time Pep goes, Foden could have even achieved more than both of them, genuinely, and that's not even impossible. If someone said in 2 years, I'm going to get Foden's stats up now because I can't remember how many trophies he's already got because it seems crazy to think about it.
See, I actually have a controversial opinion about this. Like, I think that people who count the trophies from when he was like 16 and made like one appearance in one of the competitions, I think they're a bit suspect. But I'll take it because
I don't make the rules, man. I don't make the rules. The rules.
It usually means you're putting down Steven Gerrard when you do that, so I'm all right with it.
Well, I guarantee you, Steven Gerrard would count them, and Terry would count them if they could do. And I guess the point I'm making is, as long as it's a level playing field. But what I'm going to say anyway is, if in 2 years from now, if someone said Phil Foden would have 5 Premier Leagues. Maybe 3 or 4 years from now, someone said Phil Foden would have 5 Premier Leagues, a couple of FA Cups, maybe 7 Carabao Cups, and
7 Carabaos.
Two, maybe even 2 Champions Leagues or 1 Champions League. No one would be surprised by that, given the trajectory Manchester City are on now. It's very possible. And all of a sudden, like Phil Foden is one of the most decorated players ever to be English. All of a sudden, and he's only 23 years old. That's mad.
Mental.
That's not even impossible, which is an absolutely insane thought. And he'd be a young player still up for the Young Player of the Year still. And that is what we're talking about here. We're not talking about talent.
You're just putting it into perspective there with the Young Player of the Year thing. That's madness. I can't believe that.
Because I put his work, by the way, in the Champions League. I don't know if we're going to win it this year, but if we do win it, I would not be surprised if we won it again within 3 years. I honestly believe that. I feel like it's almost like...
I feel like once you've done it once, you get that's the hurdle, isn't it? Once you've done it once, and especially with a pretty similar team of players, you know that you can sort of do it. Madrid did it, didn't they? Their team wasn't great, but they did it 3 years in a row because they knew they could.
Yeah, so I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if that was... So if you're looking back in 3 years from now, that's what we're talking about with Foden, which is a crazy thing to think about. But imagine his record by the time he's 34. It's going to be like, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. Joe, mate, I'm going to go get ready for bed because I'm knackered. But thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, obviously, City were, always, man, always. City weren't perfect. tonight. But I guess ultimately it won't really matter. And I always say these days when things seem a little bit bad, life was really, really good. Forget about tonight. It was frustrating. It was annoying, but that's referees and that's football. But still, City are absolutely brilliant. Foden's incredible. We're in the Champions League final. That is all that matters. We are the champions. For now, though, like, comment, subscribe. Go and give Joe a follow on Twitter, of course, and everyone else who's been on the show tonight. I'll catch you all very, very soon. In a big eyes. Good night.